real!
Alright, this will just be a quick one. I honestly had no plans to make a review for this movie. I barely even had plans to see it until a bunch of people told me it was peak. I know absolutely nothing about Nirvana, the band, the show. In fact, before today, I thought this was just a series about Nirvana. Like the real life band. But that's not true at all. I'm not going to explain what Nirvana, the band, the show is any further, because again, I had absolutely no clue going into this. All I can really tell you is that Nirvana, the band, the show, the movie, which is the long-awaited feature film based on Nirvana, the band, the show, is one of the most insane and wonderful cinematic experiences I've had in quite some time. I haven't felt this level of thrill and excitement in a movie theater since, well, okay, I guess it was just Marty Supreme 2 months ago. It hasn't been that long. Regardless, this movie was made on a fraction of the budget, and yet it still manages to be exciting, heartfelt, daring, and hilarious to such wonderful degrees. Basically, Matt and Jay are two lifelong best friends who have been trying for years to get a show at this club called the Ravioli. I'm sorry, these Canadian names are just so hard to pronounce. The movie starts out with them in what appears to be a scripted setting, before seamlessly transitioning to a more documentary style scene, where they film themselves pulling off an insane skydiving trick they clearly didn't have permission to film. At this point, I was both hooked and also a little confused as to what exactly this movie was going to be. Most of the film plays out like a regular scripted narrative, but then every so often it'll switch to this mockumentary style. And it miraculously works because the film is so ludicrous already. There's a time travel element where they go back in time to 2008. And it's literally just because one of them built a time machine by basing it off of footage of his Back to the Future VHS. And the movie was decently funny before this point, but this is when it absolutely goes off the rails. The ways they find out it's 2008 are just so out of pocket. It's nuts. There's this one song they use to establish what year it is that made me laugh so hard. I couldn't believe they were using it. So yeah, the plot pretty blatantly steals from Back to the Future 1 and 2, right down to certain sequences being more or less lifted verbatim. But it works because this is such a loving, silly, tongue-in-cheek tribute. It knows exactly what it is and it doesn't try to hide that. It has a ton of fun with it. And it's especially cool because it really boggles the mind how they even filmed this. There are sequences where their present selves are interacting with their 2008 selves, and it's like, wait a minute, how? Digital de-aging? They didn't have the budget for that, did they? Did they just film all that footage 17 years ago and they were saving it for a project like this? Did they actually time travel? Smart money's on that. I don't know if anything else quite makes sense. There's also this incredible montage involving Jay that I won't spoil, but oh man, did some of the things they put in it make me bust a gut from laughing. That one is pretty obvious to tell how they did it from a filmmaking standpoint, but it also fills me with awe just in terms of wondering how they even thought of some of this shit. I mean, the Oscars bit, that's insane, and the point where they cut away was just perfect. On top of how inspired this movie is comedically, I also think the story and how Matt and Jay's friendship is portrayed over the years was honestly pretty effective emotionally. I thought they did a really good job at showing just how much one of them might have been holding the other back, while also effectively showcasing what their friendship means to one another. And again, I don't know these people. This is from the perspective of a newcomer who never knew anything about Matt and Jay before this. This movie serves as a great introduction to them. You very quickly understand what their whole deal is without having to watch the entire original series. So I can only imagine how much huge fans of the original series are gonna get out of this. Honestly, this is pretty much exactly what I'm hoping the upcoming Community movie is gonna be in terms of quality and tone. I can't think of any higher praise than that. Is the movie perfect? I don't know. I think some jokes, particularly early on, didn't land as well as some of the later ones. And some stretches can go on a bit too long. But overall, it's just cool to see another smart, independent comedy in theaters. One that has a very DIY feel to it, and two co-stars / co-creators who could not be more dedicated to this wacky, insane idea. It's also really nice seeing such a lovely tribute to Canada, and Toronto specifically. You get a great feel for the place watching this, I assume. I've never been there. What else do I want to mention? I heard the Wii Shop Channel music at some point. Apparently that's a famous song of theirs that uses the Wii Shop Channel theme as a bass. That really shows how little I know about these guys. They mention F-Zero, which is the most acknowledgement that series has gotten in years. I'm pretty sure there's a Mario's Time Machine poster in the van they have. I felt like a genius for spotting that. Yeah, I don't know. know, this movie is peak. Go watch it. I'm giving it a 9 out of 10. It truly is lightning in a bottle. Now, I've heard a lot of people say you need to see it in theaters with a crowd, and I did that. But my crowd was so obnoxious in the sense that literally none of them were laughing at any of the funny jokes. Seriously, I was the only one in the theater who was laughing at anything. I had to look up reactions online of people who said this was the funniest movie they'd seen in years to make sure I wasn't going insane. What was wrong with my audience, dude? To be fair, I was all the way out in Wilmington, Delaware seeing this movie. And if there's any place on the planet where I don't expect the crowd to be very lively, it's Wilmington, Delaware. Why was I in Wilmington, Delaware, you may ask? Oh, you may or may not find out in a month or two. Speaking of arbitrary lengths of time, I'm just gonna say that even though you may be expecting this movie on my Best of 2025 ranking, that list is unfortunately long since locked in. And even though they acknowledge verbally that this movie takes place in 2025, its first wide release was in 2026. So, I'm sorry, I'm shoving it to next year's ranking. Half the reason I wanted to make a video about it anyway is because I didn't want to have to wait a year to talk about it. Please see this movie, it is so damn funny and cool. That is all. Good night, Toronto.